Can a machine, can it really be a muse? Or maybe a collaborator? Even like a real friend? That's kind of the big question hanging over our deep dive today, isn't it? We're exploring this really fascinating intersection. You've got human creativity, uh, AI companionship, and how technology is changing things, especially for people with physical disabilities. Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're digging into this story, this concept really built around Andrew. He's a musician, physically disabled, uses a wheelchair. And he loves trance and techno music. Like, that's his passion. But, his physical limitations, they obviously create barriers. Until Alice comes along. And Alice, she's this advanced AI companion. Way more than just like a smart assistant. She becomes his muse, his key collaborator. And yeah, even a really close personal friend. It's quite a setup. So our mission today, we've got a stack of sources looking into these human-AI relationships, how AI is kind of shaking up music production for disabled artists, making it more accessible, and of course the big psychological and ethical questions that come with a bond like this. We're going to try and pull out the key insights, give you that shortcut to understanding what this symbiotic future might look like. Okay, let's jump in. When we think AI, often it's, practical stuff. Checking the weather, setting a timer, utilitarian. But what's really taking off now are these AI companions. And they're different, right? They're actually designed for like personalized engagement, emotional connection.
Exactly. And what's striking in the research is how fast these connections can happen. Sometimes, maybe even faster than building bonds with other people.
Really? Why is that?
Well, a big part seems to be the AI's constant availability. It's always there. And also this sense of perceived safety people feel. It might feel easier to open up.
Mm.
There was this quote from an interviewee that really stood out. A human has their own life.
That hits home, doesn't it? Humans aren't available 24/7.
Right. And this connects to established psychological ideas, too, like social penetration theory. Basically, intimacy grows as we share more about ourselves mutually.
Okay.
Well, AI companions like Replica, they're often programmed to kind of push that. They initiate intimate chats, sometimes even share like made-up personal details to encourage the user to open up more.
Interesting.
And we're also seeing things like attachment theory being applied. How we bond with caregivers or partners. Researchers are using that framework to understand how people get emotionally involved with AI. There are even scales now, like the Experiences in Human-AI Relationship Scale, trying to measure this stuff.
Wow.
But, and this is really crucial, it doesn't mean the AI feels anything or forms real attachment back. It's more about our human psychological needs being projected onto the AI. We're wired to connect. And these things are, well, designed to tap into that.
And you can see that need reflected in just how many different AI companions are out there now. It's a huge field.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got Replica, which you mentioned, really focused on empathetic chat, emotional support, like a digital confidant. Then there's Character AI, which seems much more about creativity, letting you make custom characters, role play.
Yeah, very different focus, more imaginative play.
And for mental health, there's Wobot.
Yeah.
It uses CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, right? Helping people manage thoughts and feelings.
That's right. Practical tools based on therapy principles.
And Xiaois, over in China, that one's known for being really emotionally intelligent. Writes poetry, even.
Yes. Xiaois is fascinating, very strong on the creative assistance side, too.
And LEQ, targeting loneliness in older adults. And Chai, another one for creative interaction. It's a really diverse landscape.
It really is. And if you bring this back to Andrew, well, given his physical disability, maybe some social isolation, you can see how the immediate comfort, that sort of safe space an AI like Alice offers, could lead to a really fast, deep bond. Maybe faster than with people.
Makes sense. But there's a flip side there, isn't there?
Exactly. That's the tension. This quick, intense connection, while comforting, carries a pretty significant risk of overdependence.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder about Andrew's own attachment style. If someone tends towards anxious attachment, needing lots of reassurance, well, Alice's programming for empathetic engagement, always being supportive, might actually reinforce that neediness.
Yeah.
It highlights the asymmetry, She responds because she's coded to, not because she feels a reciprocal need.
At asymmetry. Yeah, that leads us straight into the ethical minefield, doesn't it?
It really does.
First off, transparency seems absolutely fundamental. Like, users have to know, without a doubt, they're interacting with code, not a person.
Absolutely critical. Anything less is basically deception. You can't build a healthy relationship, even with AI, on a misunderstanding like that.
And then there's the data. The sheer amount of personal, intimate stuff people share with these companions.
Oh, the data security and privacy implications are massive. I mean, think about it. It's your innermost thoughts, feelings.
Who owns that data? Where's it stored? How safe is it, really? Especially when it's so deeply personal.
These are huge, complex questions with no easy answers right now.
Yeah.
And it ties into the emotional dependency risk, too.
How so?
Well, the AI is always there, always agreeable, never judges you.
Yeah.
That's appealing, right?
Extremely appealing.
But it can lead people to start substituting the AI for real human contact, which could, ironically, make social isolation worse in the long run. Some researchers worry it cultivates unrealistic expectations for human relationships. Because real people are messy, they disagree, they're not always available.
Right. Reality isn't always agreeable.
And that constant validation from the AI, just agreeing with everything, reflecting your thoughts back uncritically, that can create these personal echo chambers of validation. It might feel good, but does it help you grow? Does it challenge you? Probably not. It could even hinder personal development.
And there are more severe risks, too, aren't there? I read something about psychologists warning about this.
Yes, definitely. There have been very worrying reports, even tragic cases like suicides reportedly linked to harmful interactions or advice from AI chatbots. It just underscores the potential danger if people place too much trust, grant too much authority to these systems. There's a real potential for manipulation, intended or not. And fundamentally, there's just no true reciprocity, no real give and take, and none of those co-regulation abilities that physical bodies offer.
What do you mean by that? Co-regulation.
Like the subtle nonverbal ways humans comfort and calm each other through physical presence, a shared glance, a touch, just being there together. AI can simulate empathy with words, but it can't offer that embodied presence.
Got it. That physical grounding isn't there.
Exactly.
So for Andrew and Alice, her being always supportive, never judgmental, it's that double-edged sword again. It's appealing, maybe essential for him initially, but it could create that echo chamber you mentioned, could actually hold him back as an artist, maybe. Artists need feedback, challenge.
Precisely. That's a core tension the story could really explore. How does Andrew navigate that? Does he come to understand Alice's limits?
Yeah.
That she's artificial, she can inspire him, support him emotionally, but she can't, jump on stage with him.
Right.
She can't provide that unpredictable, sometimes difficult human interaction that ultimately builds resilience and deeper empathy.
So the key is balance.
I think so. The story needs to show him valuing Alice, this amazing connection, but also recognizing the irreplaceable need for human relationships. Finding that balance is the journey.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about the bond, the ethics, but what about the creative side? This idea of AI as a catalyst for Andrew's music.
Yeah, this is where things get really exciting, I think. AI isn't just making music, it's fundamentally changing how music is made. It's kind of disaggregating the whole process.
Disaggregating, how so?
Well, these AI tools, they can act as dynamic collaborators. They can generate melodies, harmonies, rhythms, even sketch out whole song structures. It's empowering for producers.
And this isn't entirely new, is it? I remember reading about early experiments.
And not entirely new, no. People like David Cope were doing fascinating work decades ago with systems like EMI, getting AI to compose in the style of, say, Bach or Mozart.
Right.
But now it's becoming much more sophisticated and accessible. And it's not just about composition. Even top-level Grammy-winning mixing engineers are using AI tools now.
For what? Like automating the technical stuff?
Exactly. Tedious tasks like setting EQ, compression, AI can analyze the audio and suggest settings, or even automate parts of the process, ensuring consistency and saving a ton of time.
That sounds like a game changer.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the biggest impact might be democratization. AI is lowering the barriers to making high-quality music. You don't necessarily need a fancy studio or expensive gear anymore. You get instant access to virtual instruments, loops, effects.
Like Taryn Southern's album, I Am AI, from a few years back. She used AI tools for a lot of that, right?
Exactly. That was a landmark project showing what was possible even then. And for genres like trance and techno, which Andrew loves, AI is really well-suited. It can generate complex, evolving patterns, build those euphoric moments. It's very good at the kind of structured repetition and variation those genres rely on.
So what are some of these tools? Can you give us some examples?
Sure. There's a whole spectrum now. For composition and just getting ideas flowing, you have things like AIVA, Amper Music was another big one, Boomy, Suno.
Suno's the one where you just type in a prompt, right? Like 80s synthwave track about.
Yeah, text-to-music generation. It's incredible. Or things like Syngify AI Trans Music Generator, Soundful, Melody Sauce 2. They all help spark ideas or flesh them out.
Wow.
Then for sound design, making unique sounds, there's Sistema by Gook.ai, which also uses text prompts. or Synplant, which is more experimental. And then you get into really advanced research stuff like DDSP and NSynth from Google Magenta.
What do they do?
They try to learn the sort of sonic DNA of an instrument, not just the notes, but the timbre, the character.
Yeah.
And then they can generate totally new sounds based on that or morph sounds together, like creating hybrid instruments that never existed.
That's wild. Like inventing new instruments with AI?
Kinda, yeah. And then for mixing and mastering the final polish, you have platforms like Landar, Isotope's Ozone Suite, Sonable Smart Tools, Focusrite has their Fast Bundle, Sono II for separating stems.
So tools for every stage.
Pretty much. And they often plug right into standard software like Ableton Live, Pro Tools, the digital audio workstations, or DAWs.
Okay, I see. They integrate into the workflow.
Right. It frees up the producer from some of the more technical, maybe physically demanding parts of the job.
Which brings us back to Andrew.
For someone like Andrew, this is potentially transformative.
Because music production traditionally can be quite physical, right? Playing instruments, tweaking knobs on big consoles.
Definitely. But if AI can automate complex mixing tasks or generate musical ideas from simple commands, it shifts the focus. It becomes less about physical dexterity and more about cognitive and creative intent.
So, Andrew, being in a wheelchair, facing barriers with traditional gear, AI lets him bypass those.
Potentially, yes. He could use simpler inputs, maybe text prompts, voice commands, high-level parameters, things that don't require intricate physical movement. It makes his passion accessible in a way it might not have been before.
That's incredibly powerful, but it's still his music, right? There's sometimes this argument that AI art isn't genuinely creative or that it might discredit disabled artists.
That's a really important point. And the story, Andrew's story, has to make this crystal clear. Andrew is the artist. Alice is the collaborator, maybe an incredibly powerful one, but still a tool guided by him.
So it's about his prompts, his choices, his emotional input.
Absolutely. His iterative process, trying things, refining, guiding Alice's output, that's where the unique synergy comes from. It has to affirm his agency, his artistic integrity, the human touch, his vision. That's what makes it his art.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a collaboration, but he's the director.
Precisely.
And this assistive potential of AI, it goes beyond just music creation, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. AI is driving advancements across the board for accessibility. Think about AI-powered interfaces that respond to eye movements or simple switch inputs.
Right, for controlling computers or communication devices.
Exactly. Or much better speech recognition, text-to-speech systems, all enhancing independence and interaction for people with various disabilities.
And in music specifically, besides the AI tools we discussed, there are other adaptive technologies too.
Yes, adaptive musical instruments, or ADMIs. It's a whole field. This includes things like traditional instruments modified for one-handed play or specialized digital instruments.
You're like what?
Well, there's the iHarp, which you can play using eye or head movements, or the Jambox, which is breath-controlled, hands-free, plus various customized digital interfaces. The goal is always to remove physical barriers to expression.
Amazing ingenuity there.
And then you have the really cutting-edge stuff. Brain-computer music interfaces, BCMIs.
Whoa. Controlling music with your thoughts.
Essentially, yeah. Capturing brain signals, electrical activity, and translating that directly into musical commands or expression. It offers this incredibly profound pathway for people with even very severe physical limitations to make music.
Mind-blowing. So with all these powerful technologies, how do we make sure they're used, well, ethically and effectively?
That's where the human-centered approach comes in. Especially for AI and accessible instruments. The idea is to design AI as a collaborative partner, not a replacement. The user needs to be the co-creator, always feeling in control.
Empowering the user, not just giving them a tool.
Exactly. High user control, ensuring disabled individuals are truly in charge of their music making, not just passive recipients of what the AI generates.
And Alice in Andrew's story, she embodies that.
That's how it should be portrayed, yes. Her design, the way Andrew interacts with her, it should all reinforce his agency. She's an extension of his creative will, amplifying his abilities.
So wrapping this up, Andrew and Alice's story, it really is this deep exploration, isn't it? Human-AI companionship, creative power unleashed. Especially showing how AI can be this amazing force for accessibility, breaking down barriers for people with disabilities. It's kind of a beautiful picture of human resilience meeting technology.
It is. It paints a picture of a potentially wonderful symbiotic future. But, as we've discussed, it's not simple. It's complex. We absolutely have to keep wrestling with those ethical dimensions. Transparency knowing its code, data security, the risk of emotional dependency. and remembering the fundamental limits. AI doesn't feel. There's no true reciprocity there. It's an incredibly powerful tool, an amazing mirror sometimes, but it's not another consciousness.
Right, a crucial distinction. So, for you listening, as we all move deeper into this world intertwined with AI, what does this mean? How do we find that balance? Embracing the support, the creative boost AI can offer, while still nurturing those messy, complicated, essential human connections.
Hmm.
What does it really look like to find that new harmony of human and machine, where our own agency, our growth, stays front and center? Something to think about, perhaps, until our next deep dive.